Good evening. Tonight, I wanted to talk to you about Lizabeth Scott, the film noir queen. Nowadays, maybe she's been forgotten, but how did you how did I find out about her? How did I meet her? Well, one evening on YouTube, I found out this movie, The Strange Love of Martha Ivers. The Strange Love of Martha Ivers with Kirk Douglas, Barbara Stanwyck, and Lizabeth Scott. It's a movie from the 50s. She plays the role of Toni Marachek, and I was amazed because I had never heard about her. I really liked her looks, her acting. She doesn't have the main role. The main leading lady is Barbara Stanwyck. But her voice, Lizabeth Scott, Lizabeth, not Elizabeth, Lizabeth without the E at the beginning. Lizabeth Scott voice is amazing. She has a low voice, smoky, deep, sultry voice. And indeed, she recorded a jazz record. She did a jazz record later. You can find it on YouTube. I will post you the link in the description below. And I loved her voice. And to me, she she was mysterious. So I went after her, so to speak, and I found, and I invite you to do the same. I found on YouTube in 8 parts an interview. It's from 1996, 8 parts, Lizabeth Scott. It was recorded at Janet Leigh's house in Hollywood, and somebody, maybe fans or people from the American Film Institute, filmed her, and you'll see how she speaks and the way she is. She still has her blonde hair. It certainly dyed, but the face is a bit older, but she doesn't have any plastic surgery. And I've heard, I found out on the internet that her career was thwarted. Her career was um, damaged somehow by false rumors in order to not to disturb Lauren Bacall, who was with Humphrey Bogart. And there is a kind of resemblance in the face structure with Lauren Bacall. So Elizabeth Scott's real name was Emma Matzo. And on the internet, on anywhere you can look after for information after her about her, you will find some say she was of Slovak descent or of Ruthenian. Ruthene sometimes, for example, in Czech Republic and Poland, they are called Lemko, like Andy Warhol. And Andy Warhol was of the same ethnic group. And sometimes she's reported to have been of Ukrainian descent. But in that interview from 1996, she says herself, in her own words, that she's of Russian heritage. Okay, so she was born in Pennsylvania. She had 6 brothers and sisters. Real name Emma Matzo. And it's very intriguing because she was not that world famous, but there is a regain of interest in her because, for example, film student rediscover the film noir of the 1940s and 50s, and she's not a star of the 1940s, but rather of the 1950s. And um, one of her last movies was with Elvis Presley in Loving You. The last film she made was Pulp in 1972. And I invite you to search on YouTube and anywhere you can for her movies. And some are still available in full. You can find the full movie. And I'm enthusiastic about her, about Lizabeth Scott. And I like the film noirs she was in because those movies were stylish, elegant, at the same time emotional. There's a lot of sentiment in that. And after World War II, there was an interest in psychology, and Hollywood didn't make any more those zany, very funny comedies the way they did before. And she explained that in that 1996 interview. And the woman is very interesting. And I don't think she got married. She didn't have any children. She died in Los Angeles at the age of 92, 92 years old. And she had a quite long life. She was born in 1921 and died in 2015 of heart failure. That's quite normal at that age. And she had such a long life, and she stayed in Los Angeles. And there is a fan whose name is Todd Hughes, and on the internet he talks about it's through the Los Angeles Library, the Los Angeles Film Center, something like that. I will put you the link below. And this man, Todd Hughes, wrote a book. He talks about his book, Lunch with Elizabeth. And he was on her street. He was trying to find out where she lived. It's a long story. It's through an estate agent. And in the end, he saw her, he phoned her, and she agreed to meet him in a restaurant at Frank and Musso. Frank and Musso, it's a legendary restaurant where all the movie stars of classic Hollywood, from the golden age of Hollywood, used to meet, Frank and Musso's. And he talked to her for hours. They talked, and she answered his questions. And you can find the book Lunch with Lisbeth. And there is still so much you can find out about her. And a movie I really like, I think it's the second movie with her that I found out on YouTube. It's called Too Late for Tears. You also have Pitfall. You have um, one of the first, I think it's the first movie she made, and she's with Robert Cummings, and it's called with Robert Cummings, You Came Along. Yes, You Came Along with Robert Cummings. And I had heard of Robert Cummings from a movie, via the movie The Carpetbaggers. And if you look at my profile picture, you will know why. The Carpetbaggers. Uh, Richard Cummings was in it. And Richard Cummings also had a very long career. He's been in many movies. There is a movie I've watched recently over the Christmas holiday season. He's with Michel Morgan, French movie star Michel Morgan, in a movie called The Chase with Michel Morgan. And so I was interested in film noir for the way those movies were made and the fact they always come across as stylish, and decor, the clothes, the dialogue, and they come across as high quality movies. And it's true that black and white, when it's filmed in black and white, um, it's very poignant. You're really taken in. But the dialogue was very good, and the photography as well. And so, first movie she was in, You Came Along with Robert Cummings, and her second movie, she was also high on the bill on the movie poster. Her name was, she had top billing, she was on top. And Barbara Stanwyck complained about that. Her second movie was that movie I spoke about in the beginning, at the beginning of this video. It's The Strange Love of Martha Ivers. And she was also in Bad for Each Other with Charlton Heston, also in Dead Reckoning with Humphrey Bogart. And I'm trying to find out more. It's a Hitchcock-like movie that's called Stolen Face. She was in The Company She Keeps, a funnier movie, and Scared Stiff, that's funny too. And Loving You with Elvis Presley comes rather at the end of her career. She didn't have a career that long, but she said in that 1996 interview that she didn't want to do bad movies or things she was not interested in, and she was financially secure and comfortable, and she could say no to offers she didn't like. And she had decided to um, close the book on her movie career, and she didn't want to damage her portfolio, to damage her body of work. That's what she said in her own words. So she was, I find, good looking, um, and a very good actress. And I like that kind of people who are not movie stars because of massive promotion and marketing. A woman I like, she wasn't in film noir, but an actress that is not so famous today, but that I really like, and she's also old Hollywood. It's Anne Baxter, and Anne Baxter was in All About Eve from Joseph Mankiewicz with uh, Beth Davis. Bette Davis. Anne Baxter and other actors and actresses that I like to rediscover. Not the most famous people, they were not in the most famous movies. Their movies were not B movies, though B movies can be very good movies. And talent and fame uh, are not necessarily connected. Um, Being in popular culture does not mean you're the best at what you do. And I really recommend that you find out more about Lizabeth Scott. She was such an interesting woman. And recently I discovered Picnic with Kim Novak and William Holden. And you can watch one of my previous videos about the movie Picnic. And I don't like what they are doing now. I like the golden age of Hollywood. I like more classic films. I'm not all the time into film noir, but the film noirs with Lizabeth Scott are of very good quality. They are very good movies. And Bad for Each Other, there is also another one, Desert Furry. The company she keeps, one movie called Dark City, Two of a Kind with Edmund O'Brien, Red Mountain, The Racket, The Weapon, and towards the end of her career, some movies were Western movies, and I found out, I don't remember where, but she was friends with Michael Jackson. Lizabeth Scott had been friends with Michael Jackson. She died in 2015, and I don't want to make a too long video. I wanted to make this video spontaneously, and I always have notes prepared, but spontaneously in English. And I hope to attract English speaking viewers as well. So, happy holiday season, Merry Christmas, well, in advance, shall I say so? I don't know if it's really good to say too much in advance, but there are a lot of bad things going on in the world. Um, we'll move on to the new year, and I hope I'll still be there um, in my evening um, monologues from my, not cellar, from my loft. So you can see the blue cat behind me, and from Blue Cat and me, speak to you soon, see you soon, bye bye, thank you, au revoir, à bientôt. And don't forget to subscribe, abonnez-vous, like, pouce bleu, and comment. Mettez des commentaires. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.